everyone, and welcome to Week 6 of the GBA D-League Season 4. Your New York Empoleon are 3-2, and shh, we're going to have to be a little bit quieter this week. We're recording a little bit late in the evening to try to get this battle in with Leo, 6-foot hacks, currently undefeated in the GBA D-League. His team is absolutely horrifying. If you want more information about my team or his team or any of the sets we're bringing, go check out the team builder in the description below. If you want to watch his side of the battle, and I encourage you to do so, I know I'm going to do so. He is a great battler, and I want to hear his thoughts as he goes through this win, lose, or draw. Definitely check out his link, also in the description below. But without further ado, we are predicting him to bring Miltank, Zoroark, Medicham, Whimsicott, Infernape, and Zygarde 10%. Obviously, he has the Magearna. I could see him bringing that. He has the Cresselia. That's a huge problem for my team. Alomomola is another thing that I definitely want to worry about. So he has threats up and down the board, but this is the team that would scare me the most if he does bring it. On my side, to counter that, we are bringing Excadrill, Tornadus Eye, Gardevoir, Milotic, Victini, and Gigalith. Yes, no Mega Venusaur. We do have the Sand Core coming this week, so we're going to see what we can get going for us this week. I think we have the answers we need. I think the Pokemon are the right Pokemon to take on Leo's team. But I will not delay you any longer. Let's get this battle underway. It is the 1 seed undefeated Leo, last year's champion, facing the new guy, the unknown. Let's get into it. Alright, everyone, welcome back. Here we go. We're going to jump right into this. I am, as always, super nervous jumping into these battles, but here we go. Team preview is going to be the first thing we see, and we are going to see that Nidoqueen, the Alomomola. Alright, so no Whimsicott, no Cresselia either. So that's okay. We do see the Alomomola, so let's bring that in. And no Zydog, so actually not a bad thing for me. Also no Magearna this week for him. So all things considered, okay. Now he could lead with his Nidoqueen or his Miltank to set up rocks. He could also lead Zoroark just to get information about what I'm going to do. Now, I think my best lead here is going to be Victini. That was sort of a dedicated lead no matter what he brought, just because it will be scarfed past the Zoroark, unless that is scarfed. It'll outspeed anything on his team, barring a scarf, obviously. Now his Infernape also could have rocks on it, but again, I'd break a Focus Sash with my Victini. It would scare out potentially the Nidoqueen or the Infernape. And I do have access to Milotic to go into on either of those Pokemon after the fact. So I think Victini is going to be my dedicated lead here. That is the plan. Scarf U-Turn gives me information about his entire team. Now without Whimsicott, he actually does not have access to anything that's going to be able to outspeed me when the sand is up. So I do have to be really, really careful how I play the sand, but having access to that's really important to my team right now. So good luck to Leo, and we are going to get this battle underway. Let's take a look at his lead, and let's get going in this fight. I have to remember just to stay kind of quiet, just because it is kind of late right now, but I will try my best to give you guys entertaining commentary while also being sort of quiet. So he does lead with the Infernape. That's pretty standard for him. This could have a Z move on it. If it has a Z move, it's not scarfed. And I could scare it out with the potential Psychic type move that I don't have. That's okay, though. I mean, I don't think I have any reason to stay in on an Infernape right now. U-Turn reveals that I'm scarfed, but that's fine. V-Create, the defense drops don't seem like a great idea right now, to be perfectly honest. And I think he might just switch out. Either he'll switch out or he'll U-Turn on me, but I would reveal my Scarf at that point. Do I worry about revealing my Scarf? Not so much. I'm just going to click U-Turn, break a potential Focus Sash on this thing. He is going to switch out, so not break a Focus Sash on this thing. Karma is going to come out, and that is the Miltank. So that's probably Thick Fat Miltank if I had to guess, just to eat up any hit from me right here. Rocky Helmet, no Rocky Helmet on the Miltank, so we are going to get a little bit of damage off on it and be able to get our switch out. Now, it's not the Zoroark, unfortunately, but let's see. So I could go out into my Milotic here and click Toxic. I could go out onto my Gardevoir here and go for the Trick. I don't think that's necessarily the best play, although because he doesn't have Cresselia or Magearna, Gardevoir's Moonblast is putting in so much work this game. Now, this thing did not take much damage at all from that U-turn. So we're going to take a look at that calc. It's pretty defensive. We're looking at like 17 to 20%, not even. So this thing is extraordinarily physically defensive, which makes Gardevoir or Milotic a pretty decent switch in here. I don't know what he'd go for. Potentially Thunder Wave. We're going to go into Milotic here. I'm going to get our Flame Orb up, and then we're going to be able to click Scald on anything that he decides to bring in on my Milotic, or Toxic here as another option. So we are going to be able to switch this in. It is going to reveal that it is Flame Orb right now. That's fine. I'm going to click Toxic on this Miltank. He might have Heal Bell, but I don't know anything about his set right now. And this is a safe play on anything but the Nidoqueen. But why would you bring a Nidoqueen in on a Milotic? I do not know, because it does not handle a Milotic at all. Yeah, it could get Thunderbolt, but Scald is a very easy play here if I wanted to make it. So I don't see why, to be perfectly honest, he would choose to go into the Nidoqueen here. Milotic to a Miltank. Scald's doing, 30% if he's not specially defensive, so... plus the potential to burn, plus I don't take any damage from him once I have that Flame Orb up. And he can't stab me with anything else, so he's just going to Body Slam. So he does have some speed investment. That is good information for us to have. And we do just get a Toxic off on it. So now he's going to now we're going to see if he's going to reveal that he's got Heal Bell or anything. And he is actually EV to outspeed me. He does so little damage with Body Slam. Yeah, that's just not an offensive Miltank at all, which is great information for me to have. I'm just going to click Scald here. There's nothing stopping me from doing it. If he does go for the Heal Bell, there's a chance that I burn him on the following turn anyway, which is doing as much as the Poison was doing. I didn't see Leftovers, and I didn't see Rocky Helmet. So curious what item this thing would be holding. It can't have a Z move on it, or anything like that. So Infernape is his Z user this week, most likely. That would be my guess as to what I would have to assume is holding, what item it's holding. He didn't bring the Rotom. And I'm curious what this Miltank wants to do to me. Now it's got the Body Slam. It's not offensive, so I could easily go out into Gigalith here. I don't care if Gigalith gets paralyzed, to be perfectly honest. It resists the Body Slam. Earthquake's not doing very much either because it's not Stab. Just go straight for another Body Slam here. So he's going to chip away at my Milotic, but I mean, I'm totally free at some point to just go for a Recover. And I think the point is now, maybe one more attack and then do it, see if he Milk Drinks here. I'm curious what item he's holding. I mean, he didn't Heal Bell here, which is interesting. I could Recover, but I think I'm just going to click Scald again. Because I can recover later. I can recover next turn. I can bring this in on the Alomomola. I can bring this thing in on the Miltank. And I can recover at any time, as long as I get a safe switch into it. There's no reason for me to go into anything else. There's no reason... What item is this? I'm so confused about this Miltank. There's no reason for me to do anything but click Scald for a few turns. In case he decides to go into the Nidoqueen here, obviously I don't think they get that want... Oh god, it's late. I don't want that thing getting a free switch in. So there's the Milk Drink. Okay, so we do see that, which, that's totally unsurprising. But I do get a Scald off, and then the Poison's going to bring him back down to about where he was. So unless he Heal Bells, which he hasn't shown that he has yet, he's not getting that much recovery out of this. Now, at this point, I'm just going to let him Heal Bell or something. I'm just going to click Recover. I don't want to risk any sort of crazy crit shenanigans. There's the Heal Bell. So I am getting access to his set here, which is really, really good information for me to have. And so he's no longer Toxic. I'm going to click Recover. But I do have the chance to click Toxic again here, if I want to. And just keep, playing this game. He hasn't shown Stealth Rocks on this thing. He didn't get them up with the Infernape as the lead. So I'm just going to click Toxic again. Anything that switches in is going to take a Toxic. He's down to about 50%. He could just Milk Drink, but... So he's got Curse. Okay. So he is the Curse, Body Slam, Milk Drink, Heal Bell set. And that is actually fine. Because now I outspeed you. And so Toxic means that you can click Heal Bell if you want here, but by clicking Scald here, I'm going to pressure you to click Milk Drink over and over, and that means you can't click Heal Bell. And at any point I can click Dragon Tail if he's getting a little bit more dangerous with those curses. So he's like no offensive investment. Yeah, there's the Milk Drink, but with the Toxic racking up and the Scald damage working its way down, I think he can't safely click Heal Bell at any point, really. And, like, maybe at this point he could click Heal Bell, but then he's going to be bringing himself really low with the Scald. And so I think that Milotic wins this fight, because I can at any time recover, and he can't do anything to me. So here's the Heal Bell, and yeah, he'll Milk Drink next turn, it looks like. Probably, I would assume. And so at this point I could get a free switch into something that I think would do more damage to the Miltank. It seems like it's physically defensive, and he's got the curse up. The other option is just going for a Dragon Tail. The curse obviously not ideal, but where he's at, I could just Scald again. I think, like, he's gonna Milk Drink. I think the play might be to Dragon Tail, but I don't really want to reveal that quite yet. So I'm just gonna Toxic, let him Milk Drink again. I missed the Toxic. He gets another curse up. And so at this point, I do think that this thing is getting a little bit more dangerous. I still don't know what item it's got, so that does worry me. +2 Miltank, even without investment, is a little bit more threatening than I want it to be, so I am just going to click the Dragon Tail here. I don't trust this thing. There's the Milk Drink. And without the Ditto, obviously, I don't trust this thing. Even with the Ditto, I don't like that he's at +2 defense. So we're just going to get this thing out of here. See what comes in on this Dragon Tail, which does very little damage. But we have access to his entire set. And it is the Mega Medicham. I don't appreciate that. That is the one thing I would love to have not seen right now. That thing is a problem. That thing is a major problem for me. Milotic, without it boosting with bulk ups or anything, I don't think it's that much of a threat to Milotic quite yet, but it doesn't take much for it to become one, and Scald's only doing about 30%, and then he's got Drain Punch potentially, so one option is going out into Tornadus. Tornadus does not appreciate this thing if it does decide to go straight for a Zen Headbutt. Let me take a look at that damage. Zen Headbutt has a really solid chance to just straight up OHKO my Tornadus, so I can't hard switch that in right now. My Gardevoir is okay, but it does survive a Bullet Punch from full. And I don't know what coverage he'd be running for Victini either. So let me take a look at Medicham from Victini to Victini, excuse me. Yeah, so I don't know what coverage he'd be running for it. And I am Scarfed and can V-Create on anything that he decides to bring in, or Bolt Strike potentially, although V-Create OHKOs this thing, where Bolt Strike does not. But I think what I'm going to do here is click Scald and see what he wants to do, since nothing is doing more than about 30% to my Milotic unless he clicks Bulk Up. And if he clicks Bulk Up, then I just Dragon Tail next turn. So we are going to see that he is Mega. We do know that he has Pure Power, which is always threatening. And so he goes straight for the Zen Headbutt. He does do that play, so that's obviously a problem. That's a crit. That's really unfortunate. Please get the burn here, Milotic. He doesn't get the flinch. Burn would be huge. No burn. That allows him to take out my Milotic with anything on his team, except for a Miltank that's already got a curse up, but I don't necessarily see that being the play here. Now I could just go into Victini. I think Milotic, that's a really unfortunate crit for him to have gotten there, but I'm going to click Scald again. I don't want him getting a bulk up or a sub up here. He goes for Zen Headbutt again, which is really interesting. Now I can go into Gardevoir here. Even an Adamant Bullet Punch does not OHKO, and I just get a huge Moonblast off. And if he brings in the Nidoqueen, then I can just go out into something else at that point. The other option is going out into my Tornadus here, since I outspeed him, and clicking Flanium Z, which will just nuke something. It may not kill the Miltank, but it'll bring it down quite low. Another option is going into Victini. I mean, if I go into Gardevoir, he knows I'm Scarfed. I'm going to go into my Tornadus here. So we do have to write down that Mega Medicham kills Milotic with Zen Headbutt. Okay, and I'm going to go into Tornadus here, which he knows outspeeds him. I am going to burn the Flyinium Z here, just because I do not want Hurricane to miss. There's literally nothing worse than a Hurricane missing here. I don't really care what he goes into. It's going to take a huge amount of damage from this. Nidoqueen, that might be Scarfed. That might be my expectation, is that this is a Scarfed Nidoqueen, potentially. But it is going to take a ton of damage from a huge Z-Fly. So, I mean, Supersonic Sky Strike from a Tornadus Eye is just a nuke to something. And I love getting this damage off on anything. I might have to scout if he's Scarfed or not, but I don't think it's time to lose my Tornadus Eye quite yet. So that is bulky as all heck. Okay, so he's probably not Scarfed. Yeah, that's extraordinarily bulky. Okay, so I could knock off here and knock off. He's not holding the Black Sludge. I could switch out at this point into maybe Gigalith to get the sand up. Because once the sand's up, my Excadrill outspeeds everything on his team. And I have 8 turns of that. And that does give me access to Earthquake on Gigalith as well, plus the Sand Boost. And keeping Tornadus around is important, because I may have to click Hurricane later. So I am gonna... No, I can't go into Nidoqueen because then I either have to let it die or go into like Victini or something. I'm just gonna click Knockoff here. I don't know what item this has. Probably Assault Vest, if I have to guess. Yeah, there's the Assault Vest. So there's the Ice Punch. Okay, so maybe he's not as bulky as I thought he was. But we do survive the Ice Punch there. Now I can just go straight for a Hurricane here. And risk that 70%. He doesn't have Rocks up yet. It would take out the Nidoqueen. And if I fail to do it, at this range, the Nidoqueen is in range of Victini coming in and revenging it. I can also set up a Tailwind and not reveal, and then bring in my Excadrill for a few turns without the sand, and just let that thing proceed to get a huge amount of damage off on things, which would be great. I would love to get a kill on this thing with the Hurricane, to be perfectly honest. But I need it to land. And if I miss it, I lose my Tornadus and I'm in a bad situation. You know what? That's the game we're playing. I have to land this. He goes for the Sucker Punch. Okay, doesn't matter. Actually, it does. I should have gone for Tailwind. Okay. That's fine. I can just go out into Victini and click V-Create. If he does go into his Alomola or his Miltank, that's alright. I need to know what he's going to do. The other option... Actually, he's got the Sucker Punch, so I can't just straight do that. I'm going to go into Gigalith here. Even Earth Power from this isn't going to do a ton to a Gigalith in the sand. And I do have the Earthquake, which hits everything on his team, because nothing is off the ground. And so I could set up my Rocks, but I'm just going to click Earthquake, I think. Rocks don't seem to do as much for me, so Nidoqueen kills Tornadus Eye with Sucker Punch. Tailwind would have been super interesting there. Because that would have revealed Sucker Punch, and I'd still have my Tornadus. But I'm obviously not going to double out into my Excadrill, because if he Earth Powers, that's just like that's a really bad play. But he seems to be physical, so Earthquake, same idea. And so I'm not going to double out into anything else. This Nidoqueen does put in a lot of work against my team, although it dies to any hit at this point, so he's kind of just got to let it go. So he's going to go for that Earthquake, we should eat that just fine, and we do. We're going to go for our own Earthquake, and there's no justification that this Nidoqueen should survive this Earthquake right here. So down goes the Nidoqueen. So we're looking at a Gigalith kills Nidoqueen with Earthquake. And we still have, I believe, 6 turns of sand left. So we have not seen the Zoroark yet. I don't know what it's disguised as. It's probably disguised as the Infernape. We may have seen it first turn, is a possibility. With Excadrill in the back, though, and the sand up right now, I'm actually in pretty decent shape. He has broken down my big wall in my Lodic, unfortunately, with that huge crit. Not that I think it mattered, because I didn't go for the recover, but even still, it definitely didn't help. And so Guerrero comes out. That is the Infernape / possibly the Zoroark. I could see it being either one, and I have no way of knowing right now without the rocks up which one it is. And even with the rocks up, they both take 12%. I think the play is just going to be going for another Earthquake here, regardless of which one it is. Since this thing does do a number to the rest of my team, Infernape is a huge threat to my Excadrill suite because it does have the Mach Punch. So I am just going to go for the Earthquake here. I'm pretty sure this is the Zoroark. No, he's got the close combat. So that's the Infernape. And he takes me out with the close combat. So we do know that's the Infernape. And I don't know what item he's holding, but Infernape kills Gigalith with close combat. Now, I could go into Victini here and threaten him out again. I could go out into my Lodic with the defense drop. He dies to a Moonblast. And literally nothing on his team is going to appreciate a Moonblast from my Lodic here. And I can't go out into Excadrill because of the fact this Infernape could have Mach Punch, and that's going to do way too much damage. He might be banded, Infernape, but I don't think he had to be to kill there, so there's no way for me to necessarily know that. Actually, he may have been. Jolly Infernape should not have killed my Gigalith from there, so he's got to have some sort of boosting item. It doesn't have to be a band. Now, I could trick my Scarf, but I think my Scarf's more important than anything right now, so I'm just going to go for a Moonblast here. He's probably going to switch out. He knows his Infernape is really, really important for later. Losing that Gigalith is bad. Losing that Gigalith is really, really bad. I should have gone into the Victini there, just because I don't know if I'm going to be able to get my Excadrill in on the sand with the Infernape where it is. If he lets me kill this Infernape right now, then my Excadrill should have a few turns of sand. But otherwise, Excadrill is going to be up a creek right now without his fun weather. Now, Moonblast does kill the Infernape. Moonblast should 2-hit KO anything that switches in right now. It kills the Medicham, it kills the Zoroark, it kills the Infernape because he's at -1. Should 2-hit KO the Miltank, and should 2-hit KO the Alomomola. So, and my Lodic can survive a Bullet Punch from a Medicham, so a Mega Medicham. Did I say my Lodic? Gardevoir. Gardevoir can survive a Bullet Punch. My Lodic also could survive a Bullet Punch. So, if he's Scarfed, he's got close combat again. He does switch out at this point. Goes out into Karma, the Miltank, which is going to come in, and it is the Miltank because it is a little bit damaged, so it's not the Zoroark. But this should 2-hit KO a Miltank, and it looks like it will, especially after the Sandstorm, and we see that we are faster than it, which is a free chance for me to click another Moonblast. Bullet Punch is only going to max out around 80%, so I do have the ability to take a couple of turns of sand here without worry. And so this is another free Moonblast for me right here. I'm not obviously going to let him Milk Drink or anything. I just want to take out the Miltank here, because that is an annoying wall in the way of Excadrill. If he does Milk Drink, predicting me to switch into my Excadrill, which he can't really touch. But Gardevoir does do a ton of work still in this match. And I do still have a few turns of sand left, so looks like I have 3 turns of sand left. So he's going to stay in with the Miltank, and Gardevoir should pick up that KO. So Gardevoir kills Miltank with Moonblast. Alomomola could come in here. Alomomola is a problem. If Alomomola comes in, I think my switch is into... So, Infernape comes back. I don't kill you anymore with a Moonblast. But I come really, really close. And Gardevoir does so much work against his team. But so does Victini now, as well. We still have 4 turns of sand left. Is there any chance he goes for a close combat right here? He might U-turn, but I really don't see a close combat, and I am kind of behind the 8-ball in this. I need to make an aggressive play here. Excadrill doesn't have any value to me outside of the sand. And Mach Punch... only does 50%, so depending on what he goes for. He could, like, Flare Blitz, though. I think Victini is the switch here. I just need a little bit of damage off on this thing, and Victini will allow me to get that. And I don't know what he's going to go for yet. I think he has to be choiced in some way. So I'm going to go into Victini here. He's going to go for that Flare Blitz. Yeah, that's the safe play there. He might be Scarf, but I think he's got to be something like Banded. He's going to take a little recoil from that. And we are going to get buffeted first, so we do know that he's not Scarfed, or he's Scarfed with no speed investment, so that's really good information there. This is a free Bolt Strike for me, with my Victini. V-Create does just about as much as, actually does a little bit more than Bolt Strike, but I can see the Alomomola coming in, and the Bolt Strike's a much, much better play on that. So I am going to click the Bolt Strike here, which does about 60% minimum to a Infernape, and has a chance to para as well. So he's going to switch out. That little bit of damage, though, is really big. My Gardevoir is Scarfed and can handle that, so we are going to go for the Bolt Strike here on the Mega Medicham, which may not kill it from there. Doesn't quite kill it from there. Get the para. And a little bit of Sandstorm, we are going to show that we are faster than it. Sandstorm does just take it out, so Mega Medicham's going to go down here. And so the Sandstorm... So Mega Medicham dies to Sandstorm. I think he was predicting a U-turn, but Gardevoir... If I can get any damage on Alomomola, then Gardevoir wins the game. Straight up. Gardevoir now kills Infernape. I mean, I don't know how bulky he is on that Infernape, obviously, but after the damage that Flare Blitz did to it, Gardevoir is going to kill it. Zoroark's obviously right here. Are we going to find out, I guess, if this is a Scarf Zoroark or not? How many turns of sand do I have left? 2? Oh, boy. Well, I got no choice. I could go out into Excadrill here and preserve Victini, but I don't think it's going to matter. If he's Scarfed Zoroark, then we're in a little bit of trouble. But if he's not Scarfed Zoroark, then Bolt Strike's going to do a lot of damage to it. V-Create would obviously be better. You know what? Excadrill, again, does nothing for me outside of sand, and I only have 2 turns left. So we are going to save Victini. We're going to bring Excadrill in. He can't kill it with any attack. If he Night Dazes and gets the accuracy drop, that would be worst case scenario, but otherwise, he's just going to Sucker Punch, so he's probably not Scarfed. And we get Excadrill in with 1 turn of sand left to click Earthquake on whatever. Earthquake... Alomomola, fine. Just let me Earthquake something. Now, Drill does nothing for me. Yeah, okay. Now, this thing's a problem, if only because it can take some hits. And it's pretty bulky. So Excadrill, again, does nothing for me now that the sand's gone, right? So I don't switch it out. And he's got to be physically defensive in order to take that so well. Because if he's not physically defensive, he just takes about 60% from that. Now I could just Earthquake again on his Wish, which I think is what I'm going to do. And then when he protects, I'm going to Swords Dance. Because again, Excadrill not doing anything for me. If he attacks with Scald, fine, he's going to be damaged. And free up the ability for me to go in with Victini and stuff. So there's Scald. No burn? No burn! That means I get to Earthquake again and kill this thing. I don't think even one more set of leftovers saves you, so Protect wouldn't do anything. I mean, I guess it does something. So I'm just going to Earthquake again. I'm going to click Earthquake again. If he double protects and gets it, then sure, he might live another Earthquake. But again, Excadrill's not doing anything to Zoroark. It's not doing anything to Infernape. Obviously, the Infernape comes in and Sucker Punches it. But it's really my my Gardevoir who comes in and gets the two big kills here. He hasn't had a chance to Wish. I'm just going to keep clicking Earthquake. My Life Orb's slowly wearing me down, but that doesn't matter. Excadrill only outspeeds Alomomola at this point and needs to get a kill on Alomomola. That's the one thing I needed to do at this point in the game in order for Gardevoir to come in and finish it. And if Gardevoir fails to do so somehow, some way, then Victini's got to do it. But it'd be really, really hard for Victini to do it. Does go for the double protect. Does not hit the double protect. We get an Earthquake off. This should take out Alomomola from this range. And it does. So Alomomola goes down. So Excadrill kills Alomomola with Earthquake. Now, I need to take a look at how much Sucker Punch does to Gardevoir. And I want to assume he's like max attack adamant, because I don't want to take any chances here that this is going to do more than I want it to. Sucker Punch does 55 to 65% to my Gardevoir set. There's not a chance in the world I do anything but click Earthquake against this Zoroark right now. There's Night Daze, so he might be Scarfed. Night Daze should also not kill. He's Life Orb. Perfect. That's information. That's information for me. So Zoroark kills Excadrill with Night Daze. Now, okay, we know he's Life Orb. If he's Adamant max attack again with a Life Orb, I didn't calculate the Life Orb. 71 to 85%, maxed out at 125 damage. We have 129 health. We're gonna click. Yeah, we take that. Moonblast. There's no way Zoroark survives that. So Gardevoir kills Zoroark with Moonblast. And from where the Infernape is, from where that is, we're going to trace into Iron Fist, sure. We are going to click Moonblast. He might be Scarfed. He has not revealed that he's not, but I think he's... Oh no, we know we're faster. Moonblast, is he defensive? Not defensive enough. And Gardevoir kills Infernape with Moonblast. Ladies and gentlemen, oh my gosh, it's 12:30 in the morning. Ladies and gentlemen, the New York Empoleon have just taken down last season's champion, Leo, and the Durham Druddigons in a 2-0 fight. Leo, great game. You had me so on the ropes there. Oh my god, my heart, guys. I'm not going to be able to sleep tonight. So Wow, what an ending. Shout outs to my front office right there for coming up with the strats and the plans and the plays that I botched time and time again during that fight. But hey, that's the great thing about having guys who are saying, look, this works no matter how badly you play. Oh my god. I will see you all next week as we are going to take on Sohan, OP Jellicent, and the Toronto Leaf Storms next week in Week 7. I hope you guys are well until then. Take care, everybody.